Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Homeology podcast, a weekly conversation with your HVAC team here at Vertex Mechanical. We're glad you've taken a few moments as part of your day to laugh with us, maybe learn something new, and be inspired.
I think we're ready now.
Good. All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. It's been a while, but we thought we would take a little break and try to figure out how we can do this better. And hopefully you already noticed some differences if you've heard us before. Today I do have Josh with us here today. He's kind of the guy responsible for making this thing sound great and look great. So, yeah.
Thanks for having me, Vince.
This is Vince.
This is Vince. I was like, make sure you do an introduction. He totally skips over himself. That's all right. And it's just fun to kind of do a reset because Vertex has been growing, and not just within our staff, but regionally as well. Hopefully you've seen the trucks all around town and beyond. But it's been a really fun season for you over the last couple years, growing and seeing an expansion of your vision even.
Absolutely. No, it's a lot of changes, and changes aren't always the easiest, but there is a vision of constantly looking to become better. I mean, Vertex does mean the highest point, and it's just something we continually strive for. Yeah. So it is kind of a fun thing to watch. I think a lot of people tend to get a little nervous in change. And that's fine. I'm not one of them.
You do well with transition and change.
I do. And so if I see something that could be better, it's all about making it better. But yeah, we're in a great place and a great time right now. So
what made you decide, hey, let's try the podcast again? Because you did a little bit, a number of months ago. You paused for a little bit and let's reset again. What was it that drove that?
Our industry is one that, just in general, there's just a lot of questions out there. People don't know where to go. People don't know who to turn to. And I'm not saying I'm the guy, but I have been around the block a few years. I think I'm somewhere right around the upper 30s now. I think 30, 38, 39 years I've been doing this. And so I feel like I've seen just about everything that there is out there. But to give at least another opinion or give an outward, unbiased position on a problem you might be having is just something actually I really enjoy. I mean, there's just something about being faced with a problem that nobody else can figure out, and all of a sudden you come up with a solution. There's just something that makes me get out of bed for that every morning.
Which is interesting because recently you kind of retooled the mission statement for Vertex as well, which is that Vertex provides comfort solutions through innovative mechanical services. And that kind of actually defines who you are a little bit as well as an innovator. And what you just described was, I love getting up and coming up with a solution, which is part of what this podcast exists for, actually, because homeowners do run into curious situations all the time. Yeah. And not that this will be an encyclopedia necessarily, but it does provide an opportunity perhaps for those that are watching or listening to actually hear about some innovative solutions for their needs at home, because again, we're going to come into contact as a team with all manner of curious situations that cause our technicians, both install and service, to have to troubleshoot and problem solve all the time.
Right.
And you've trained them to do that really well.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's one of the unique things about the team here is that, again, I just said people don't like change, and that goes for techs too. Techs do not love walking into something that they're unfamiliar with and that they don't have answers for. So it takes some unique techs to work, here in some of the situations we get into, because you're faced with things that there may have already been a half a dozen techs there from other companies that have already said they don't know what's going on, or the reason we're even there is because it hasn't been fixed yet. And that can be daunting. It can be overwhelming for a lot of people. But that's the kind of thing that I personally am looking for. I really, truly enjoy those real hard solutions that are out there. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of our industry likes to put things in boxes, and they like to just do things. But there's plenty of homes out there, a lot of situations, offices that just need to come outside of that box. And it's really not that big of a deal if you just have a bigger box.
Okay. What I was about to say is that as a homeowner, I actually really value someone that's saying, hey, I'm willing to look beyond what everybody else is saying as this is the only solution, because I actually feel like my home is a completely unique space. It might be similar to other homes, but you use it differently even, and so it demands, or I should say, I would like for a technician to come out and say, you know what, there might be another way to do this. And I've heard you say that so many times, Vince. You know what, there might be another way.
Yeah.
How did you ever actually get to that point where you started to say, you look at a system and say, actually, there might be a better way, or there might be another way?
Well, I think it's just, when I say I had all these years of experience, it's just that sooner or later I probably came in contact with this before
Sure.
and had to wrestle my way through it, just like everybody else does. So I'm just getting kind of a head start on everybody else is really what I'd say is happening in that way.
Yeah.
But, the thing is, there are times where, typical and standard is fine.
Sure.
But what a lot of people don't recognize or realize is that there are things that they put up with that they don't need to.
That's a good point.
Like, for instance, on a 95-degree day, you have a 2-story house, and you go upstairs to bed, and it's 10 degrees, 12 degrees warmer upstairs on the second floor.
Right.
Well, that must be just the way it is. It's a brand new house, right? And I guess this is just the way it is. Well, no, it doesn't need to be. There's places to
really
fix
good point.
that. Now, I'm not saying it's free always. I'm not saying that it's a cheap thing always. It's sometimes you're going to have to throw some investment in on it. But the thing is, why tolerate it? If this is your house and you're going to live here for the next 20 years, you shouldn't have to deal with this kind of thing. And the other thing is, I'll say, is that a lot of these solutions, even though there's a lot of times an upfront cost, if you really do consider, and I think it's a very important piece that a lot of people in my industry fail to do, is look at the value of the entirety of the system in its life. So there's another cost to this, and that's the energy cost. And the thing is, when you start looking at that whole thing in one big balloon, you're not going to really be paying any more for that, even though you're making that extra investment, than what you will have paid in 15, 20 years from now when you look at your utility bill and how much I may have saved
And
you.
it does have a significant impact in the comfort of the space that you're in.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're really looking to do, is provide a different level of comfort. Just out of curiosity, are you comfortable with that Mr. Homeowner like myself coming up and say, hey, I feel like what you just described, it's so much warmer in this space. Does that frustrate you when you get those or is that kind of like energize you, like, well, I've got an idea for you?
Oh no, that's what I'm pretty much, like I said earlier, that's what I get out of bed for.
Got it.
I mean, it's those kinds of things. That's a problem, and comfort is another thing that every individual has a different.
That's true.
It puts a different value on comfort.
Sure.
Some people will put incredible value on comfort. Like I don't want anything other than I want to feel toasty warm in the wintertime, and I want to feel nice and cool and comfortable in the summertime. Yeah. And I know it's going to cost, but that's secondary to me feeling comfort. And then you have the other people that is like, what, I'll deal with the fact that I know it's a little bit warmer. I'm okay with that, but hey, as long as it's not costing me a lot of money on the upfront. Yeah. So really, we have to go into these things very open-minded and listen to that customer and say, okay, comfort's obviously important to you. How can I get you there?
Right.
And how can I get you there without it costing you an arm and a leg?
So I think the bottom line to that is, if you are a homeowner and you're listening to this and you're saying, actually, for a long time I've been dealing with X, and I wasn't sure if it was even worth asking the question about. Please do.
Yeah.
Please go ahead and ask a question. Actually, give us a call at Vertex.
That's really what we're here for.
It is. And that's a real encouragement to me, because I'm someone that can oftentimes kind of just put off, I guess that doesn't matter, like you said. I guess that's as good as it gets, or I guess that's just the way it's going to be. But perhaps it's not, and perhaps all it takes is one call to kind of be able to speak to one of our team members here and find a solution for what actually might be a solvable comfort issue.
In fact, I'll even go as far as to say that we really strongly encourage that, because I think people are maybe a little slow to call into the office, or they might be slow to call out a tech or something because they're afraid it's going to cost something, or that it's going to actually maybe bother somebody or something of that sort. The thing is, for us to be successful in this podcast, we actually need these questions. So
it's true.
Fire away, and and there's just nothing that we're not willing to tackle here and try to make happen.
So coming up, since this again is a reset, just kind of let you know, we're going to be releasing these every week on Wednesdays, and you can find it on almost every streaming platform. And we do want your feedback. We do want your questions, because every month we're also going to have a special series called Stump the Yunt. So Mr. President Vince Yunt, who is a wealth of knowledge and information, loves the challenge, as you heard already this morning or this afternoon or whenever you're listening. And so if you have a question, we want you to email that. You can just email contact@vertex-mechanical.com. Send your questions, because we're going to give a Stump the Yunt challenge every month about some of the mechanical solutions that might be most perplexing and difficult to discover. So you can do that at any time. And then, again, we also want to let you know that if you're not connected to us via Facebook, we want to encourage you to do that, because right now we are a week out from selecting a winner for a whole home air scrubber giveaway. And so you can go to Facebook right now, find our post, and like it, share it, and then you'll be entered to win $1,200 value air scrubber for your home. So please do that if you're watching and listening.
It's a really good deal.
On October, it's a good deal. It's a very good deal. And actually, a little secret: everybody's going to win something that does this.
Even I didn't know this.
Yeah, everyone wins something. I'm not going to tell you what. It's a good deal.
Oh, good.
So when you said it's a good deal, that triggered me
Good
like,
deal.
everybody's actually getting a good deal if you choose to do it. So please do that. And again, please check back in with us every Wednesday or whenever you want, because it's available 24/7. So thanks for joining us for our first podcast of this reboot. Next week, we have a guest, Nathan Foster, who's one of our sales team members. He's going to be joining us. And then in a couple of weeks, Don Mumal, who's our operations manager. He'll be with us also. So fun times
Sounds
ahead.
like fun.
It is. So thanks, Vince, for kicking us off.
Absolutely.
And we'll look forward to seeing and or you participating with us next week.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Adios.
Hey, thanks again for joining us today. As always, we hope you enjoyed your time with us and that you'll return again next week. And if you need to get a hold of us, just visit vertex-mechanical.com to call or email.